Hello and welcome to G-Fun Facts Online. Take a deep breath. That air, so essential for life, might be carrying a silent threat. And it's not just targeting your lungs. A growing body of research shows it's going straight for the command center of your entire being, your brain. We've all heard how smog can harm our hearts and lungs, but scientists are now uncovering the precise, molecular ways that air pollution infiltrates our neural circuits, setting the stage for memory loss and cognitive decline. The villain in this story is a tiny, invisible particle called PM2.5. These particles, thousands of times smaller than a single grain of sand, come from vehicle exhaust, industrial emissions, and wildfires. Because they are so small, they easily bypass our body's natural defenses. So how do they get into the brain, which is supposed to be a heavily guarded fortress protected by something called the blood-brain barrier? Well, these particles have two main routes of attack. First, the systemic route. They penetrate deep into your lungs and pass into the bloodstream. From there, they circulate throughout the body like tiny Trojan horses, eventually assaulting the blood-brain barrier, causing it to become leaky and allowing pollutants to seep into delicate brain tissue. The second path is a terrifying shortcut. When inhaled through the nose, some particles can travel directly along the olfactory nerve, the pathway connecting your nose to your brain. This gives them a direct, high-speed entry point into your central nervous system. Once these foreign invaders arrive, they trigger a powerful and destructive response. The brain's immune cells, called microglia, launch an inflammatory counterattack. But because we are constantly exposed to pollutants, this becomes a state of chronic neuroinflammation. Think of it as a low-grade, simmering fire that continually damages surrounding brain cells. This is combined with another damaging process called oxidative stress, which floods the brain with unstable molecules that damage cells, lipids, and most importantly, proteins. This toxic, inflamed environment is the perfect breeding ground for the disruption of proteins that are absolutely vital for memory and cognition. This is where the story connects directly to the hallmarks of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. One of the defining features of Alzheimer's is the buildup of sticky plaques made of a protein called amyloid-beta. Scientists have found that the inflammatory conditions caused by pollution make the brain produce an excess of these toxic amyloid fragments. They clump together between neurons, blocking cell-to-cell communication and killing healthy brain cells. Studies are stark. Mice exposed to diesel exhaust developed 45% more of these plaques, and brain scans of people living in highly polluted areas show a greater buildup of amyloid. The second hallmark of Alzheimer's is the formation of tangles inside neurons, made of a protein called tau. Normally, tau proteins act like railroad ties, stabilizing the internal structure of neurons. But pollution-induced inflammation causes these proteins to change shape and clump together into insoluble tangles. This collapses the neuron's internal transport system, causing the cell to die from the inside out. This cascade of damage has a direct, measurable impact. Large-scale epidemiological studies have confirmed that long-term exposure to PM2.5 is linked to poorer performance on cognitive tests, especially for memory and language skills. The evidence is so compelling that exposure to fine particulate matter is now identified as a significant modifiable risk factor for dementia. It's estimated that a substantial number of dementia cases annually could be linked directly to air pollution. Even short-term exposure can impair focus. Perhaps most disturbingly, emerging science reveals that air pollution's impact can be written into our biology through what are called epigenetic modifications. Pollutants can cause changes that alter the activity of our genes, essentially switching on genes that promote inflammation while switching off genes that protect our neurons. These changes can happen long before any symptoms appear, creating a hidden vulnerability that can lead to disease decades later. The evidence is clear. The journey of a single pollutant particle from a car's tailpipe into the brain sets off a devastating chain reaction that actively drives neurodegeneration. Understanding this silent threat is a critical call to action. Protecting our collective brain health will depend on our commitment to cleaning the air we all share.